White, who is author of two children's books, one of which we're going to discuss with her today. The title of this one is Don't Swallow the Baby Jesus. So, Whitney, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm blessed to be here.
Well, and you also wrote another one called Who Left Jesus in the Box? So that one came out when? Who Left Jesus in the Box?
That one is actually right now, it's in its pre-release stage.
Oh, okay. And so Don't Swallow the Baby Jesus was earlier?
Yes, sir. It was last year, and it actually sold 2,600 copies locally within about 2 months before its actual release date.
And
Okay,
so
great.
this is for parents to get and to read with their children
Absolutely.
and read to
Yes,
their
ma'am.
children. And it's about helping them understand more the reason for Christmas.
Yes, ma'am. The first book, Don't Swallow the Baby Jesus, it was written because 2 years ago, when we were decorating our Christmas tree, putting out our decorations, we took the time to explain all the nativity pieces. And after that, while I was decorating the tree, my oldest son, Aaron, who's the narrator for both books, he was explaining to our youngest, who was 6 months old at the time and could have cared less. He was just running a taste test through all those pieces. He was trying to show him those pieces, and I turned around just in time to see him put the tiny baby Jesus in his mouth, and I hollered, "No, don't swallow that baby Jesus." And as soon as I said it, I knew how crazy that sounded, and so I prayed, "Lord, what could I do with this, and what would you have me to do with this?" And so I sat down and I wrote that book in about an hour, and it's been amazing to see the results that have come from that.
That's awesome.
Well, you were in devotions with us this morning here
Yes,
at
sir.
American Family Association. And your husband, Matthew, is also with you.
That's right.
And want to say very excellent devotion this morning.
Thank you.
If you don't mind sharing a story that you shared with us this morning. I love that because you talked about how you've listened to American Family Radio for years, and
Yes, sir.
your mom, your family listened to it, but you told a little story about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
That's right. That's
can
right.
you share that? I thought it was fun.
I sure can't. My brother's listening right now, and he'll be so excited to know that his name is going to be mentioned. Sure, when I was younger, I was probably 4. My brother was 9. We had quite a drive to school, and my mother always listened to AFR. And about that time, he had really gotten into the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and he had the little action figures, and the highlight of his life was to wake up on a Saturday morning and catch the Ninja Turtles on TV, because at that time we didn't have a DVR or TiVo, and so anyway,
You're dating yourself, you realize that.
I know, but you had to catch it. You had to catch it when it came on TV, and so he made a point to do that. And so anyway, as we were on our way to school, my mom was listening to AFR, and Dr. James Dobson came over the radio, and he began to tell parents how he strongly encouraged parents to turn the TV off when the Ninja Turtles came on, because they were just too violent. And I looked over at my brother, and I remember him sitting
He's
there
like,
and
"No."
looking at his Ninja Turtle like, surely she's not listening right now. But sure enough, she was, and the Ninja Turtles were done after that. He got to keep his action figures, but it was just left up to his imagination. He no longer got to watch them after
Mean
that.
old James Dobson.
Yeah. So your program was highly effective 20 years ago as it is today in our home. We appreciate you very much.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for your support.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, the actual characters in these two books, Don't Swallow the Baby Jesus and Who Left Jesus in the Box. We'll get you to explain a little bit about this other title, Who Left Jesus in the Box. And we're talking to Whitney Yarber White, who is the author of these two children's books. But the characters are your family.
And they are my family.
And
That's right.
I met your husband this morning. He looks like the guy in this, and so now you have the first book. There was 2 children, right? And now you have 3
we
little
have
boys.
3. Yes, sir.
So I'm sure
You're
they're
busy.
keeping you busy.
We're in survival mode right now. That's what we are. Yes, sir. 4,
they're
3,
ages-
and 1.
You're probably wishing you had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Well, so what's this other book about?
Okay, Who Left Jesus in the Box? I think it's a really neat story. Last year, we have many traditions in our home, and one of them is on Christmas Eve, we have a Happy Birthday Jesus party. We've done this since Aaron was just 6 months old and didn't have a clue what he was doing, but that is very much a tradition in our home. And last year, our boys were at the age where they felt that Christmas was about them, and then the gifts that they were entitled to, as you were talking about earlier. And And it seems like no matter how hard and how diligently we try to teach them, it's not about you. It's about Jesus. Jesus was the ultimate gift. This attitude, they just can't help to have it because they're so infiltrated by their school and by their books and their music and their even well-meaning grown family members, tend to spoil them just out of love.
And they get gifts that are like thousands of dollars. And like my dad, I remember he said, for Christmas, he got like a pencil and an orange.
Yeah.
Could you imagine nowadays if you went down, you'd be like, Santa hates me. You
right.
know?
It would be highly offensive.
Yeah. Right. And now
right.
it's thousands and thousands of dollars.
That's
and
right.
it's getting to the point, I think, I have a 4-year-old, and she's just now starting to really understand all the Christmas stuff. And she's got her list going.
Right.
Instead of making it about Jesus. And so that's so important that you're doing that
right.
with your children. We all need to do that.
Well, I hope that if it doesn't have an effect on any other child in the world, it has an effect on my own, because this is something that, is just highly important in our home. We want it to be about Jesus. And it seems like it's a very hard fight and a hard struggle to redirect their focus and their attention on Christ. And a really cool thing that we're doing with this book this year is local stores are holding Happy Birthday Jesus parties. And that's so cool because they're sending out invitations and they're advertising it in the paper and they're telling their customers, come in, we're having a Happy Birthday Jesus party. And they're not coming to see Santa and get something out of it. They're coming to celebrate, and they'll have a birthday cake and I'll read the story to them and sign books. And that's just a really neat thing that that we have going on. I'm really excited about that this year.
Well, I'm thinking I need to do that with my child. I mean, we haven't done that before, and they're real into birthdays.
Right.
And to sit down and maybe get a little cake and a candle and talk about Jesus and the importance of his life and sing happy birthday to him, and then you're getting them on the right track when they're
Right.
small. You don't have grandkids yet, do you, Ed?
I've got one on the way.
Okay,
April.
so you need to be listening to this.
Oh yeah,
You and
no.
Diane. Okay.
Well, do I have to? Do I can't spoil my grandkid.
You can do a
Maybe just
little bit of both.
But I like the idea. I don't know how much you got to hear of the previous guest we had, Courtney Peets, the daughter of Carl Peets, who works here at American Family Radio. I'm just thinking about what she does at Christmas time in making stuffed animals and things
Right.
to sell and to then get money to give to Samaritan's Purse. And I think it's important as we see ministries like Gospel for Asia and Samaritan's Purse that kind of have helped a lot of Christians turn the focus of Christmas outward.
Right.
And I'm listening to you talk about the Happy Birthday Jesus party, I'm thinking, what a great thing to combine, like this book, the birthday party for Jesus, the Christmas story, with how can we bless people who are less fortunate? How can we help people to get kids to link Christmas with not only being blessed, but being a blessing to
bless.
others?
Right.
And I can see this being a great way to maybe help turn that tide a little bit.
Well, I feel that the Lord placed, as I shared in devotion, a very tragic and an unfortunate event in my life on Christmas Day, 2005, when I was 18 years old. But he used that in such a positive way because I wanted to do something to turn that around and not make Christmas just be a result of miserable memories. I wanted to turn it around and do something that would make a difference in the lives of my children, but not just them, and not just kids that come from great families, but kids whose lives have been shattered into pieces, and Christmas is a miserable experience for them, and that they may not hear a Christmas message during those holidays. And I wanted to try to provide that for them. And it's been amazing because I've been allowed to go into several schools. Last year, I toured all through schools, public and private, and it was just amazing. But I only encountered one school where they said, now, don't read this book. You're not here to read the book. They were very nice. They were very firm, and they had to cover themselves. And they said, you're just here to be an author. Well, I came in, I had my stuff set up. I had my nativity sitting on a chair right beside me, and the rambunctious fourth graders came in, and one of them hit the chair with his knee, and the shepherds fell over. And the other little boy punched him in the arm, and he said, boy, look what you done did. You done knocked the pilgrims over. And he had no idea. He literally thought they were pilgrims. Yes. And so I did not read that book at that school, but I did walk through every page and explain every illustration. And as I was, they were saying, who is that? Who is that? And they were not pointing to my family as the characters. They were wanting to know who Mary and who Joseph and who Jesus was.
So they weren't wanting you to talk about it because they didn't want to say anything about Jesus because it was
right.
They didn't want
Okay,
to get
religious.
sued.
That's exactly right. But they
But
were
the kids
so
were
eager.
asking,
Oh,
so
yeah.
then you could answer, right? If the
Absolutely.
kids-
They were so eager to know, and they just wanted, you could tell that they had a hunger about them. And that's something that we take for granted coming from Christian families is, the Mary and Joseph and Jesus and all the nativity people, they are drilled into our heads, from before the time that we
born.
can talk. Yeah. And so these kids had no idea, and it just blew my mind. And so I thought that was a great opportunity that God had placed before me to be able to share Jesus with them in simple terms, not read the book, but I did walk through the book and explain who they were.
And we do assume, I think, that everyone knows the Christmas story. And I lived
Right.
in California for a long time. And one of my friends one time from California, we were talking about Easter. And she said, I've never heard that story about Jesus rising, the beautiful
What?
things that
Wow.
happened. She had never heard it. But see, we just can't imagine that. Like, she didn't know the details and she was so blown away by it. And it's essential that we are constantly being a light and telling that story
Right.
and sharing that story. And also, I think, Ed, we forget that everybody hasn't had great Christmas memories and
Right.
how to
Right.
turn that
That's
around
exactly right.
to something beautiful, that not only did Jesus come and save our lives and change our lives in such a beautiful way, but he's a redeemer and a restorer too.
Well, this is excellent, and I'm blown away by hearing from the two of you about kids not knowing the Christmas story, and Lauren about people not knowing about Easter. Whitney, we're almost out of time. We're talking to Whitney Yarber White, who has written two books: Who Left Jesus in the Box, and Don't Swallow the Baby Jesus. These are children's books that will talk to them about spiritual things as well as the Christmas story. How can people you have a website? How can people get a hold of this?
Well, you can go to the bookstore at tatepublishing.com. That's www.tatepublishing.com. Or you can look me up on Facebook under Don't Swallow the Baby Jesus.
And get a copy of either of these books.
That's right. Yes, sir.
Whitney Yarber White has been our guest. She's the author of two children's books, delightful, Who Left Jesus in the Box and Don't Swallow the Baby Jesus, about her and her family, the Christmas story, and about Jesus being in your heart. Whitney, thank you so much for being our guest.
Thank you. It's
Thank
an
you,
honor.
Whitney. Nice to meet you.
Well, when we come back, folks, we'll be talking to Stephen Owens, who's a teacher in Nashville. He's written a book about how he had to come to terms with the fact that his mother had his father killed. It's an amazing story about Christ's power of forgiveness. And so we'll be back after the break with Stephen Owens, later on Peter Schweitzer, and extortion in government.